Thank you, Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, very good morning. Last session were there about the legal part, how best we can legally operate and get the benefit out of the Indian Oceans. And yesterday there were long sessions, and we have come to know about the maritime security. Today I will try to touch a few of those, and later on we'll come back how we can build a common platform, or especially on the capacity and the capability building on the maritime safety and security. As you know that all the 21 IORA member states in the Asia, Africa, Australia, and also these 7 dialogue partners will agree with me that the opportunity that IOR holds are enormous, and it is our way out, especially on the economic perspective. And Bangladesh, as a developing nation, is not an exception. And we basically, the maritime trade is the lifeline for us, and so do for many of the coastal nations in the IORA. So with that, I'll just give a outline of the geo-economic importance of the Indian Ocean region. It actually have about 2/3 of the world's oil, you know it, and 50% of the seaborne container traffic, 1/3 of the bulk cargo, and the world's highest tonnage in the seaborne transportation of goods. And beside that, it also has, it is a hub for the coal, copper, iron, nickel, cobalt, gold, diamond, and other strategic raw materials. Now, if we look into a much spoken topic yesterday on the maritime safety and security paradigm, if we look into, and first of all, I'll try to highlight on the maritime safety regime. Though I think as a seaman, I understand from my experience that if you don't have a worthy ship, you shouldn't go to the sea, whether it is a defense vessel, defense platform, or a commercial one. It's very important. Like only in order to accommodate the economic activities safely through the Indian Ocean region, you require safe vessels, safe platforms, and for years, especially starting from the Titanic long back in 1910, 12, or 14, the IMO has developed regulations in case of the shipbuilding and the design, and over the time it has incorporated many regulations. And I think most of the IORA member states are with that and abide by. But here, one point is very important here. If these are not there, if the ships are not following those, especially the rules and regulations, especially the human resources, those that are operating these platforms, they are more or less responsible for this, for ensuring the security. And so, parallelly, the national nations of the IORA are parallelly also responsible. Beside this challenge, with there are weather challenge and disasters are there. There is a natural one. You cannot just, if you are a mariner or a seafarer, you never can actually get rid of that. It will certainly accompany, and when it will accompany, you never know it, but certainly that will require a response from the coast, and that will be the coast from the IORA member states. That doesn't actually exclude the flag officer responsibility, certainly includes that. And in case of the IMO, it has over the time has SOLAS, then the SOA has come, the IPS code, then the coastal state that the port state control measures are very important. It would be very important on the trigger. And in some cases, to ensure these, the ship worthiness that are applying here, it might require to monitor in case of the environmental perspective. And I'm also nowadays a bit, I think in this the last decade has incorporated the environmental issue under the IMO. So again, if we look into the maritime security, many authors actually define it as a buzzword because it encompasses a wide spectrum of policy sectors. So if we talk about the shipping, it is one, and the fishing. These are the two issues that actually from the century it is on. And with the time, maybe these economic activities was there. Today, these economic activities are there. Tomorrow, this economic activity will be there. But certainly, there are challenges. But it is true that for the maritime security, it also encompasses the food security, water security, and other securities possible. Like if you talk about the living resources there, if you don't have a healthy ocean, you certainly will not have a healthy resources from there. And we need to think today that what we will keep for the next generation. So maritime security, like our that we conceive very easily for the land perspective, one way, if we can ensure the maritime security, we will have a new domain to uplift our economy. So again, if I talk about the maritime security, it has a traditional and non-traditional perspective. All of us we know that, and in case of the traditional one, the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence will encompass, but we will not talk that detail on that. But what this forum can address is the non-traditional one, and I think it is. I will skip this because it is must talked by now. So just to show that the strategic petroleum streams that are actually happening here, one thing is important, that the IORA choke points. This is very important for us to understand that the safety and the security, whatever the economic activities that we are experienced today, it has a centuries of history. So this is lifeline for not only for our region, it is for the global, even for the global perspective. I'll put an example later on. Like if this the Suez is interrupted for any reason, maybe intentionally someone has sunken one ship in this canal, or for any good reason, unrest in the Middle East, or any geopolitical situation that actually lead to stop the Suez, what will actually will give a different dimension of 2,700 nautical mile additional distance. Then you know that the additional shipping and the insurance cost will certainly will be there, and certainly there will be a hue and cry for the energy. If we do not, this strategic fuel is very important not only for this region, also for this mere survival of the other coastal nations of the Atlantic and the Pacific. So this impact will be not only our IORA member state, also it will include the global economy. So it will be like this, that no single country is capable to address all those challenges. IORA possesses enormous resources, that's true, and littoral states took initiative, and there should be a mutual benefit one. Further room to improve the cooperation, the capacity building. So the capacity building should be our focus. So this is actually this maritime cooperation. We will just talk about so far about the maritime cooperation. Now we will lead to the we will check the possibility to create synergy in the capacity and the capability building. That will be virtually the aim of this session. And this is the scope that actually I was already covered few, and existing maritime cooperation, challenges in the IOR, the identification of the suitable method and the mapping of the area of inequivalencies, then the modalities for the sustained program for capacity and capacity building, and then possibilities of cooperation among the members of the IORA, possible areas of improvement, cooperation, especially on capacity building, and we'll end up with the recommendations. Now we see that yesterday we have learned so many so many dimensions of the IORA and the IONS, and how they can best be operated together. But as a mariner, I must think that we must realize, or IORA must realize, that the architecture or the synergy actually comes from the real requirement. We can look into the Task Force 150, 151, 152. That was actually happened. This Maritime Task Force has been come to address a particular issue of piracy and terrorism. Like the supply chain that I have been shown, that was interrupted, and that was costing much insurance for the coastal nations. So again, in case of the Malacca, recap or functioning, in the same again to addressing the piracy. So if we look into the experience that actually these organizations are doing, whatever you name them, you can name anything, but you are addressing what? A security threat. Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. I think I'm running out of time. So here we have diversity and lack of capability is a challenge again, and the lack of information sharing, lack of trust and confidence is there. Here I will talk that we should take some measures where we will actually able to build our confidence. And since time is not there, I'll just keep telling the highlights that we have eyes, but we don't see. In the ocean environment, we need to see, and that is surveillance. How you see it, how your member state will see it, there requires the cooperation, and cooperation is needed. Again, the new emerging trend is the IO fishing, but illegal fishing were there. New terminologies and new challenges are coming, but we should be smart enough to address those, and our approaches should be much more straightforward and much more credible. That is only possible from if we are knowledgeous, if we are aware, and again, another thing is there, that the interest of the neighboring countries. Here, one of the good practice or the best practice could be resolving the maritime issues about the member states, and you know that we have resolved our issues with the India and the Myanmar. So we actually know as a IORA member state that where our area of operation should take place, and where our beyond that where we will apply. Maritime pollution is itself could be a big session. I don't go into that detail, but it is for sure that ocean is getting hypoxic, and there are pollutions, there are pollutants, microplastics, and the polythenes are very, very reality nowadays. But this is actually reducing the oxygen level in the ocean. So we should be very cautious, and we should take some measures that our environment is preserved. So we need to check. Sorry, sir, I take more 2 minutes. So I'm sorry again. We need to actually identify the weakness, strength, gap, and the best practices and the way forward. I will skip those. Platform is a requirement. That the capability of the IORA member state is certainly a challenge. The platforms I have, you might not have. The training you have, I don't have. Or the exercise we do, all are not included. The system we follow is not. We should be on the same uniform, so that I talk, you understand, you talk, I understand. Information sharing again. So here catch point is yesterday we talked about the IONS. It could be a IORA and IONS even can talk. Here if we do information sharing, we can address all the non-traditional tests as mentioned here. So since time is not there, I just talk a few words here. It is an illustrative IORA maritime security structure. I think it is not the final or anything. It's a suggestion. Like pollution control and the law enforcement could be the beginning, and we understand that Maritime Cooperation Center could be a good idea, and information sharing and MDA is a requirement, and confidence building will be only possible if we resolve our problems, and regional stability is a very required for these economic activities to go on. So I'll just skip and go for the recommendations. Maritime safety and security are prerequisite for the sustainable use of the IO and they ensure the economic well-being of the IORA member states. From the best practices, common suitable mechanism may be formulated for the IORA member states to address the non-traditional threats. Suitable options, public mechanisms should be of ecologically, legally, and socially viable. So if I take something which is not ecologically viable, legally viable, or socially viable, it's not an option. Then human resource development and capacity building may be the key approach as sustainable solution. Technologically and institutionally developed IORA member states, including the dialogue partner, may contribute in capacity building. That's end my presentation. I'm sorry that I've taken overshooted my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal.